Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, says the National Judicial Council will sanction judges who fail to deliver the required number of judgments quarterly. The CJN, who is also the chairman of the National Judicial Council, was speaking at a conference on judges' performance evaluation. She expressed concern at the declining performance among judges, noting that some judges don't deliver a single judgment in a quarter, a situation she said was unacceptable. The chairman of the NJC Performance Evaluation Committee, retired Justice Sidi Beige, said that judges who consistently perform below par will be removed from office.
At the last meeting of the committee, there was a reduction in case disposal as some judicial officers failed to deliver a single judgment in one quarter. This is simply unacceptable. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot wish away the growing backlog of cases or expect a different result when we continue to do things the same way. Unless we can justly, speedily and effectively execute our roles as judicial officers, the populace will lose their confidence in the judiciary, as it is mostly believed, rightly or wrongly, that the judicial process is often painstakingly slow and tedious. Delayed justice is denied justice.
The judicial performance policy will give prominence strategies to strengthen judicial performance through constant monitoring and evaluation and through continuous monitoring and assessment of the adequacy of the facilities available to judges for efficient performance. Emphasis there is mine. 2.5.2. To this end, the Judicial Performance Evaluation Committee will strengthen the quarterly evaluation mechanisms already put in place and introduce new measures to ensure improvement or improved performance of judicial officers.
It's also our hope that your lordships will take advantage of this platform to share your various experiences and perspectives on this issue. It is also our hope that at the end of this conference, your lordships will provide us with necessary impetus to enhance our performance evaluation techniques.
About time, Rufai, I think it's a good thing to hear the, almost new Chief Justice of Nigeria talking tough, saying they're going to sanction and even fire some judges for non-performance. Your take on this story?
I mean, many things. So, at first, yes, very good, but also the part of technology should also be embraced with most of these judgments. There are still a lot of judgments and people in the judicial circle that have not embraced the full-on use of technology. Technological apps like, apps that interpreted things you had said and write them to be able to make judgments quicker. Apps like, conferencing and Zoom and all of that, cross-referencing apps and a couple of things that can also help the filing process, the whole legal gamut. Secondly, there are some judges that really need to go. They are below scratch, below par. And we really see that happen in our judicial system. Some judges don't even know how to write. Some judges are plain lazy. Some judges are very lackluster at their work. Some judges just keep giving adjournments. And I can say this from experience. I've been in court for 3 years pursuing a particular case, and I know what I saw. Judges like that, they need to put them out. But the question is, how do you replace them? At a time where even being a judge is not attractive because of the pay. Anyway, President Tinubu has increased and done some work with the welfare. Let's see how that's going to attract more people. Another part is the appraisal system. It needs to be done consistently. Another thing we also need to look at, causing a lot of this problem, is the role of politicians. Any small thing, they load the court system with a lot of cases. And they take preference. You wonder how their cases take preeminence and preference over the other cases that have been on ground. That's why she was talking about well over 200,000 cases at this point in time. So it's a holistic approach, and this is the first step in the right direction. They say a journey of 1,000 miles being the very first step. But I just hope what she has said will not just remain in the realms of audio. Something will be done to ensure that we revamp the legal system. I mean, people have been waiting for justice for over 10 years in this country. Justice delayed makes it denied sometimes.
All right, Dr. Abati.
Okay, well, you will recall, if you can just put this in context, that when Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun assumed office as the CJN of Nigeria, the second woman to do so, she made it clear that she will try to reform the judiciary. She will make sure that there is discipline. Judges abusing ex parte motions and being, irresponsible on the bench will not be allowed. And that third, justice will be done under our watch. And the backlog of cases will be cleared. Now, she spoke yesterday at the occasion of the third annual National Judicial Council conference. The theme of which was Judge Craft, performance, evaluation, and the way forward. And she made two major points at that occasion. The first is that, look, the backlog of cases, just too many. As of the first quarter of the year 2024, over 240,000 cases, civil and criminal cases, are pending at the superior courts of record, with the exclusion of the Supreme Court. And that this is not, acceptable to the extent that justice delayed is justice denied. Okay, people also say, oh, the grind of justice, the wheel of justice grinds slowly. Okay, what my lady is saying is that, look, can the wheel of justice, move very quickly so that justice can be done and the public confidence in the judiciary can be restored as required and appropriately and accordingly. And that's the number one point that she made. And that the other reason is not just about the system grinding slowly. After all, we now have e-filing systems, we have virtual court hearings, we have a digital court system. I've spoken about how the electronic system has been admitted into the Evidence Act and all of that. But she says the indolence, the impunity of judges will not be allowed. A country that has indolent judges who are lazy bones will have issues with justice. And this is the point that my lady, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, was pointing out. The other issue that she pointed out has to do with the fact that these judges have no reason to be lazy because they have already been incentivized. And it was in that context that she was referring to the fact that the federal government of Nigeria has increased the salaries of judges. And the simple principle here that she was pointing to is that to whom much is given. If your salaries and allowances have been increased, then you must give back. To whom much is given, much is expected. This does not mean she's trying to be nice to the executive. It's a very simple principle that the Chief Justice was emphasizing. And I think, having read out the Riot Act to lazy judges, indolent judges, the ones that Rufai Hussaini says he has encountered in the administration of justice process in Nigeria, then those judges do not have a place on the bench. And the Chief Justice of Nigeria has enough powers as chairman of the National Judicial Council to ensure discipline to achieve our objective of restoring confidence in the Nigerian judiciary.
That's right. I think that's one of the key tasks ahead of her before the Chief Justice of Nigeria, which is to restore confidence in this third arm of government, in the democratic structure of Nigeria, the judiciary. One of the things that must be done is even to go back to the recruitment of judges themselves, or appointment of judges themselves. In some instances, we've seen where there's nepotism, in some instances, favoritism, or perhaps judges are appointed where it's not merit-driven. We must go back to that to ensure that even the process by which judges are appointed is fair, is transparent, and it is meritorious. Therefore, we already, from that process, ensure that the judges that come on board are, come to the bench are indeed experienced, qualified, and merit that position. Beyond that as well, some of the things that Nigerians have talked about in terms of justice delayed being justice denied is an opportunity to also ensure that parties in suits do not use the adjournment option arbitrarily and just abuse that process, whereby they keep seeking for an adjournment, and then the case keeps getting prolonged and prolonged, hence almost bringing about a lack of justice in that particular case. So to check that as well will be something that will be really important. And then also with regards to discouraging indiscriminate case filing and ensuring that if cases can go to arbitration, perhaps not go through the court processes, and ensure, pursue or perhaps encourage that route to decongest the number of cases that the judges have to attend to. These conversations have been had, these recommendations have been given over time. The main challenge that has been is implementation. A number of these things have been discussed at FOAS, have been talked about, how we can make the justice system more efficient. Unfortunately, we do not see that happening yet, but let's see, and hopefully that this CJN would then be able to take the bulls by the horns and actually implement this. It would be great to see sanctions, especially in clear cases of infractions, especially where there are time limits on cases, electoral matters, for instance, matters even in other aspects. Let's see judges being sanctioned. Perhaps that would also serve as a deterrent and demonstrate some seriousness as to really sanitizing and ensuring that the populace, as she mentions, restores its confidence in the judiciary process, and justice in Nigeria will be for all, not just for the elites, but for the common man, as well as people who are, high and mighty, or the political elite. Well, let's move on to our next story. And here, stakeholders from across the energy sector convened at the Nigeria Energy Exhibition and Conference to explore strategies to address Nigeria's energy gap, a challenge seen as crucial to the nation's development. The three-day event themed Breaking Barriers in the New Energy Era, Clean, Reliable, and Sustainable, focused on advancing West Africa's clean energy transition, foster innovation, attract investment, and expand access to sustainable power solutions. Arise News' Musumola Ogiolu reports.
The Nigeria Energy Exhibition and Conference event has brought together hundreds of delegates, high-profile government officials, policymakers, investors, and project developers from within the country and outside the region to discuss one of the most pressing issues, energy sustainability.
Why I am embracing energy transition in line with the Western world's dictates is because it is an opportunity for us to achieve our energy expansion, especially in the underserved and the unserved area, in our rural areas. So our focus is more on energy expansion. And I'm also here to tell you today, as popular as energy transition is today, China, the US, the UK, they still generate a reasonable portion of their power supply with coal, the dirtiest of power. Yes. So our gas should be our own transition fuel. That is our local peculiarity.
Energy is truly human right. It is not politics, and it is not personal glory. I tell people that infrastructure business is not for the get-rich-quick. If you want to get rich quick, go and find another business. So the profitability and socio-economic impact that we always need to balance, because power project needs to be sustainable.
The discussion also highlighted the importance of creating a supportive policy framework.
One, policy framework. We will explore the imperative for policies that stimulate renewable energy development, streamline regulatory processes that will ensure seamless grid integration by fostering a supportive policy environment that will help create a fertile ground for clean energy technologies to flourish. Two, investment attraction, which I think has been one of the key challenges that the market is faced with.
Skipper's journey in Nigeria has been defined by unwavering commitment to the growth of Nigeria's energy sector.
The conference connects Nigeria's energy transition to the global fight against climate change and stresses the importance of aligning with international efforts to move towards cleaner and more efficient energy. Mosumola Ogelu, Arise News, Lagos.